Hey, Jeremy Crow here. I just wanted to start off with an apology about being a bit late on this video this week. I had some stuff going on with work and in my personal life that needed attention. I wasn't able to... Actually, I did record a video, but I wasn't pleased with the quality of it, and I didn't want to put an inferior video just for the sake of getting it out on time. But yeah, here it is, couple days late. Also, I apologize. It's insanely hot today, so I'm doing this in my car because it's a good place for me to be isolated and be able to talk freely. But I have to have the air conditioning on because it's just insane. I just tried to do a recording of it without that on, just for audio quality, and I couldn't get through 4 minutes before I had to turn the car back on with the AC. Anyways, this video I wanted to talk to you this week about was health and longevity and immortality, essentially. Apotheosis, all that stuff, but specifically the health and longevity aspect of it. Now, this has been a goal to achieve a greater health and longevity in the occult realm for really long, for a very, very long time. It's been more with the right-hand path, monotheistic stuff that has really kind of started to demonize the flesh, and that's been obviously been around for thousands of years. And so that current, the influence that current has had on us is a demonization of the flesh, devaluing the body, considering it lesser, or the lesser self, in a sense. Some people say that they have a higher self. This would be the lower self, would be the body and its urges, its dirty, filthy, sinful urges. Yeah, I don't buy into that bullshit. The body, and there's also in New Age, you see these things, how that thought has infiltrated the idea where they say we're not human beings having a spiritual experience, we're spiritual beings having a human experience. Well, why can't we be both human beings that are spiritual entities as well? Like, why deny the flesh? Why say that this is just a piece of crap, that we're just a flesh prison that we're inhabiting for now, and it's such a bad thing, That's actually one of my pet peeves, is the whole demonization of the flesh infiltrating the left-hand path. So to try and create an antidote for that, I like to talk about improving the physical health of the body and trying to make it live longer. The more effective, the thing is that you need a body in order to affect the world in the efficient way that we're doing so while we're alive. It's a very, very valuable tool, and a lot of times, it's possible that the only effect that we have on this plane, the material plane, after the physical body dies, is what we've set in motion while we were alive. That's possible. So it's very important. It's very, very important. So we don't know how long we have, but we can do things that will increase the possibility that we'll live a longer, more healthful, effective life, in which we can actually do things with that time. Of course, there's always accidents, unforeseen situations, well, whatever, could be dead tomorrow. Who knows, right? We never know. Nobody knows. Some of the people watching this video might be dead tomorrow, or I might be dead tomorrow, and there's no way that we can really know. But if we do these things to improve our health, then definitely we're going to be hedging our bets, giving ourselves the best chance of living a long, healthy, effective life. The alchemists were interested in this, lead to gold, the elixir of life being the same thing as the philosopher's stone, just different effect that you're using it for. Base metal being like lead, that's susceptible to oxidation, whereas gold being kind of incorruptible, they say, where it doesn't oxidize and therefore is kind of a symbol of immortality. Obviously, the longer we have, the more chance we have of accomplishing our goals. And one of those goals may be apotheosis, right? Or establishing a legacy. Things of this nature are very important to somebody on the left-hand path, especially. Now, there's medical science, that we can use, that we can take advantage of the knowledge from that in order to improve our health and give us a greater chance of living a longer, healthy life. So, I have to give a disclaimer. Even doctors, I'm not a doctor. I'm not even a registered nutritionist or anything like that. I'm just a guy. I'm just a dude, who, so just take this as entertainment value or advice from a buddy. Always do your own research. Everybody's different. You may have different pre-existing conditions. You may have different medications that you may be on that may interact negatively with some of the things I'm suggesting. So definitely do your own research beforehand. And also, it's recommended that you consult a doctor, a medical doctor, before engaging on any of these things. So what can we do? Well, number one, you can exercise regularly. You need cardio and you need weights. Both are important. Maintaining a strong muscle mass or a healthy lean muscle mass is going to also improve your bone density, and that gets more and more important as you get older and have a harder and harder time of maintaining your muscle mass and bone density. So working out, do cardio, and do weightlifting. I know there's some people that are just obsessed with cardio and they'll just go, but they're not building their muscle masses. You got to continue to do the cardio in order to continue to burn the fat, and they're not building their muscle mass, they're not improving their bone structure or their bone density as much. Anyways, you need both, in my opinion. So, in terms of nutrition, so there are certain things that most people, the majority of people, are deficient in, and it's pretty much across the board. There are statistics saying 50% of all people are deficient in this, and there's almost everybody is deficient in this and stuff like that. And you can look that up, and what you can do is you can use foods that are rich in those nutrients and minerals to add them into your diet to increase that in your system. And you can also use supplementation. The real food sources are generally considered to be a better source of those nutrients because, for one thing, there are a lot of compounds. It's a very complex thing in food and food sources, that you're going to be getting all those extra compounds rather than an isolated concentrate of a specific, maybe medicinal component. But a lot of times those other components support that medicinal component, and if you're just taking an extract or a supplement, sometimes you're not getting those additional supportive elements. So usually you generally try and improve your diet, eat a lot of superfoods, and foods that are rich in the things that you think you may be deficient in. You can also look up symptoms of deficiency of those various different things and see if you have that or not, and that can also help give you a guide on what you need to improve. A lot of these things you'll take them regularly, and you may not notice a very profound difference, but it's there in the background. And sometimes it's cumulative, so you'll feel it over a period of time. So just to give you an idea of some of the things that I personally take, I'll let you know what I'm actually taking on a regular basis. So I try and take daily, I'll try and take this particular stack of supplements where I'll take 100 milligrams of calcium, 100 milligrams of magnesium, and from what I've read, it's important to have a 1-to-1 ratio of those two if you're supplementing. I can't remember why, but it's good to have a 1-to-1. Some people take a lot more calcium than magnesium, but I take 100 milligrams of each. With that, I take that with a meal, and at the same time, I also take 100 micrograms of vitamin K2. This is extremely important. It's something that not a lot of people really know about right now, but it's been discovered or figured out what the benefit of this is, around 5 years ago or so. It hasn't really fully disseminated to the general public yet, but it helps prevent your organs from calcifying, including your pineal gland. It helps prevent your arteries from hardening as well, and it helps get calcium and magnesium that has gotten into your blood and tissues and soft tissues and moves it into your bones. So that's important. D3 will get it from your digestive system into your soft tissues and your blood, but if it just stays there, it can cause problems. It can cause hardening of the arteries, and it can cause mineral deposits in your soft tissue, and you don't want that. You need the K2 to get it to the next level, into your bones. So I'll take 100 milligrams of calcium, 100 milligrams of magnesium, 100 micrograms of vitamin K2, ideally the HK7 variant, but whatever you get a hold of. And vitamin D3, I take roughly about 4,000 IU of vitamin D3, roughly. And I'll take that all at once. And I'll take that with a meal because some of these are fat soluble. So I try and take that every day. Another thing you can do for vitamin K2, natural food sources of vitamin K2 that are rich in that would be brie cheese, which I love and I eat a lot. Liver pate, I eat that a lot as well. Some people call it liverwurst. I've never really actually tried that type of liver pate, but apparently it's the same thing. And also you have natto, which is a fermented, usually soybean product from Japan. And it is the most potent and best source of vitamin K2 in food. Although I've had it, it's not very palatable. So it has this kind of vinegary, almost rotten smell and taste. It tastes rotten. just to be upfront and honest about it. I have some in my freezer, individual portions, and I do intend on taking it again, just because it's so healthy. There's a fungus that's in there, cultured, and it takes up residence within your digestive tract apparently, and it'll continue producing the HK7 variant of K2 in your digestive tract for a couple days after you've eaten it. At least that's what I've read. I don't know if that's true or not, but it's a very potent source of good quality vitamin K2. So if you can stomach it, then that's a really good thing to do. You should have that probably twice a week or so. Another thing that I like to take is creatine monohydrate. This is generally used by people who are interested in the sports supplement effect, that they're using it as a sports supplement, and that generally it is used to hydrate the muscle tissue on a cellular level, and that will increase the ability to work out for a longer period of time, and also it speeds up recovery after a workout. So people are able to get faster gains because they're able to work out harder and more often. But there's also a neuroprotective element to creatine that most people don't really talk about, and it helps protect the brain. And that is extremely important to keep healthy for a longer period of time, because now what we're seeing, a lot of times there's people that are living longer lives, but their brain isn't necessarily keeping up pace with the rest of their body, and so they're getting dementia and things like this. and they're not able to effectively enjoy these years, or effectively, a lot of times, kind of not even there in a sense. And sure, you like to be able to spend time with them and whatever, but they're really just kind of living out their lives when they're in that state. And that's, it's better than nothing, but you want to be effective. You want to have your faculties about you for as long as possible, and sometimes it can't be helped, but we'll do, try and do things that will improve that. And other things that you can do to improve that aren't diet. Exercising regularly, it helps the brain big time. Don't worry about these video games like brain games or whatever. If you really want to boost your brain power, work out regularly, learn another language, learn a language that you don't already know, and 3, you can learn to play an instrument, learn to play a musical instrument. So work out regularly. If you can do martial arts, it's even better. Learn a new language and learn a new musical instrument. That really boosts your brain power and improves your brain complexity. If you do get some sort of brain damage, or if you get some sort of neurodegenerative disease such as Alzheimer's, then you get longer period of time before you notice the full effects. It kind of buffers it. Now back to the supplements and food. Now another thing that I'll take with the creatine is ubiquinol. Now this is the active form of coenzyme Q10. So if you have coenzyme Q10, you can just use that. It's less expensive than ubiquinol, although ubiquinol is a more potent form. So I prefer the ubiquinol, but that, especially in combination with creatine monohydrate, has a powerful neuroprotective factor to it. So I'll take creatine every day, but I don't always take ubiquinol every single day. But I take it regularly. I'll take it at least 1 to 3 times a week usually. Not all of these supplements I'm totally disciplined with. I will take a day off here and there sometimes, and I think that could be healthy. I don't know. Give your body a bit of a break from the supplementation and just kind of let it, whatever. I don't know. It's just a feeling that I've got. I don't know. Another thing that I'll do is I'll often put my creatine in my coffee, because a warm beverage will help it dissolve better, and you can get some nasty side effects, some stomach irritation, and sometimes even diarrhea if you take the creatine monohydrate crystals undissolved, and they don't dissolve very well in cold water or cold liquid. So I'll often put that in a coffee. I drink a coffee every day. 1 usually, sometimes 2, but usually just 1. What I like to do, what I've started to do recently, is I'll make a coffee chaga blend. Now chaga is a type of mushroom, and it's the most potent source of antioxidants in the world, so that we are aware of. So chaga mushroom has about 10 times or 11 times as many antioxidants as pomegranate, which has like 4 times as much as blueberries. So blueberries, people are always saying, oh, blueberries are just chock full of antioxidants. Well, chaga mushroom has about 40 times or 45 times or something like that more antioxidants as blueberries. One of the more potent antioxidant sources of food, food sources that we know about, is the acai berry, and it's chaga mushroom has about 7 times the antioxidant level as acai berry. So it's extremely potent antioxidant, but it has other benefits too. It has an amino stimulating effect. It helps your immune system. It regulates it, actually. So if you have allergies, it would probably help with that too, so that you don't have as intense of a reaction. when you do encounter an allergen. I'm not sure about that exactly, but it's an adaptogen, so it actually balances a lot of your body's functions. It balances a lot of your hormonal ratios. And it tastes good. It's good. I like it's got so many health benefits. You should look it up. I can't go over the whole thing right now, but chaga mushroom, generally you'll boil it. You create a decoction, which is essentially boiling to create a tea, and you can boil it for over an hour. You can put it in a slow cooker for like hours and hours and make some really dark stuff, and you can reboil it until it doesn't produce that dark color anymore. That's when you know you've gotten all of it that you can get out of it. It tastes really good mixed with coffee. It has kind of a deep, almost earthy kind of flavor. It is a mushroom. It has kind of a mushroom-ish flavor. Well, it's a fungus. It grows on, mainly grows on birch trees in colder climates, including Canada. Siberia has some of the most potent chaga. It's essentially it's almost symbiotic with the tree. It often forms where there's a wound in the tree, and it'll help the tree actually repair itself. So it's interesting. It has some symbiotic effects with the tree, and it's pretty easy to recognize. So you can actually harvest it yourself and dry it and utilize it in your daily or whatever routine. One of the things that I did with it recently is I made some chaga decoction and used it as a base, a broth base for like a Japanese curry that I made with mushrooms, different kinds. Like there was button and oyster mushrooms I think I used, as well as some pork, not a lot, just a small amount, and some other vegetables. And I used like a Japanese curry, but the base of it was kind of a chaga broth, and it has kind of, it can go either way. You can sweeten it and put a bit of cream in it for like a kind of a coffee type drink, or you can salt it and put it into something that's savory. It has kind of that, it could go either way. This is kind of cool that way, actually. It's different ways of getting it into your diet. What I'll do now, lately, what I've also started to do is I'll put a different medical mushroom in there too, which is lion's mane. So I have this lion's mane mushroom powder that I have, and I'll take a quarter of a teaspoon, a level quarter of a teaspoon, mixed in with that chaga coffee, blended in there. And I'll take that every day. And I haven't, I've only just started that. I've only done it for about 3 or 4 days now. So generally they say you don't really notice the effect of the lion's mane mushroom until you've taken it for roughly about 10 to 15 days or so, and then you'll start noticing a very profound effect, apparently. And anyways, so there's a lot of things you can do to improve your health, and some of them are very basic. Some of them don't cost very much at all. Some of them are a little more pricey, but there's different ways of doing it. Like you could potentially look at like a food source instead of a supplement source, or you can for lion's mane, for example, I bought the powdered mushroom rather than trying to buy like a product like I think there's one called Four Sigmatic. That has like a coffee mushroom packet, like individual packets that you just put in water. It's instant coffee mixed with, freeze-dried chaga and lion's mane, I guess, or something like that. And you can buy these little packets, but that's a lot more expensive than just buying the powder and measuring it out yourself. So there's ways of doing it with less investment in actual money if you put in a bit more work yourself. And there's some really amazing foods that you can eat. Raw unsalted almonds, I like to eat a handful of those. Usually every day I'll have at least like 5 or 6 almonds. You throw in some other things, button mushrooms and celery have this, I believe it's an enzyme or something that inhibits an enzyme in us that will convert testosterone into estrogen. And especially for men, as we get older, we're not producing as much estrogen, or we're not producing as much testosterone. And it's very important to have a good testosterone level, especially for a man, because for one thing, it helps us maintain our muscle density, or muscle mass and bone density. But there are other elements that it's good for us to have. And naturally, as you get older, your body produces less. But you can trigger it to produce more, and you can do things like have celery and button mushrooms regularly to help prevent that enzyme from converting it into estrogen, and so you retain more of the testosterone that you do have. You know, there's another thing that I found out about. This is a little more controversial, so definitely look this one up. Research this one before you do it. I've been putting a small pinch of borax, you know, the thing that people use in their laundry, a small pinch of that in my coffee as well, you know, daily. Just a very, very small pinch, very small. And that is because there's evidence that shows that we are deficient in boron, and that's a good source of the boron mineral that's just mined out of the earth. It's 99% pure borax. It's got the same toxicity level as salt, so it's fairly safe, especially in the dosage that I'm using. I take way more salt in a day than I do borax. That's for damn sure. But yeah, this has an effect on improving testosterone production in men. It has an effect of, apparently it has a mental cognitive boosting effect as well. So it's kind of it's some considered a nootropic. That's a word. Lion's mane, that's a nootropic. You know, just so you understand what that word means, it's kind of a brain boosting drug. Lion's mane actually, it's crazy. It actually produces nerve growth factor, is what they believe, and that it could actually potentially grow back damaged neurons in the body and in the brain. So this is insane. There's another thing too called beta amyloid plaques that develop in the brain. These clusters of this beta amyloid cluster up into plaques, and it blocks transmission between neurons, and it impairs brain function. Now, we see these plaques very prominently in people with Alzheimer's disease, and they've been studied for years and years. They've been looking at trying to figure out ways of breaking up these clusters of beta amyloid and clearing these plaques out of the brain. There have been a few things that have been promising. They're saying even there's some cannabinoids that have been effective in clearing some of these out. But apparently, from what I understand, the most potent food source or orally ingested thing that you can take to clear out beta amyloid plaques in your brain is lion's mane mushroom. So that's pretty amazing. Like, it could actually be a viable treatment for Alzheimer's disease or even dementia. So yeah, it's a brain booster. It's extremely healthy for the brain. It has other effects as well. Most mushrooms that are edible have medicinal properties to them. They have things in them that are very healthful and will improve your health. If you like mushrooms, good, eat more of them. If you don't like mushrooms, well, maybe try and use mushrooms that are in like gel caps or something, so you don't have to taste it. But yeah, the benefits of medicinal mushroom use, or even just eating mushrooms in general, is incredible. It's a very untapped area, I believe. I think that a lot more people are going to be getting into this as we go forward, and people realize the benefits of these things. So what kind of supplements do you use? You know, what foods do you like that are very high in medicinal properties or nutrition? I'd like to hear what you're doing to improve your health, and what types of things you're putting into your body to do so. yeah, I find this a very fascinating subject. I could probably talk for another half hour on it, but we'll end it here. And, you know, if you're interested in this stuff, you know, maybe I'll do another video on it later. Well, we'll see you next week, guys. Later.